Hello YouTube, bringing you another battle, again on Marathon, with Germanicus. As you've noticed in the last one, I've swept my setup from 2 infantry and a javelin unit into 3 infantry units, just because I found that the javelin unit couldn't quite close in the distances. It would get targeted by archers, and my supposed advantage would turn into a hindrance. So deploying in the middle just because nobody else wanted to, even though we have some spare guys, but I'll be holding the center. Just deciding to wait and see what's going to happen. So notice the enemy, he has my previous setup, and he's pretty much suffering from what I used to run into. He may have 2 infantry units and 1 javelin man unit, and he could break through me, but unfortunately once he closes in, he gets targeted by the archers. I throw some pillar into him for good measure as well, and this javelin man unit gets cut out by the horseman over here. The opponent engages testudo, so I seize this opportunity, and since the penalty is 70% to melee defense, I charge into him, hoping for a victory. We even have a somewhat of a flank shot on them. The cavalry is trying to hightail it out of here, away from the spearmen, and she's chasing down the javelin man. Meanwhile, I'm sending one of my units from behind, getting bombarded by the artillery, trying to get in behind these infantry over here and give myself a decisive advantage. I let them to recover and join formation before charging in. And here comes the charge. I specifically targeted this unit because it had lower morale, so causing a rout over here. It wouldn't have happened as quickly had I targeted this unit. So 3 versus 3 turns to 3 versus 1, but the enemy has a nasty spearman unit that wants to join the fight. So I pull back my own infantry, even though I do take some damage on the way out, but I really don't want to get caught in the flank by a phalanx. Throwing some pillay again for good measure, and they start engaging right about now. Since we're kind of flanking from both sides, we're still going to try to do the same if these spearmen engage. We're dashing around and trying to present their front to us. Even taking one big boulder to the side of this very contested, congested formation. So they seem to be maneuvering about, so I decide to charge in the enemy infantry unit over here, hoping to cause a quick rout, but the morale doesn't scatter. So again, it's the same problem of these hoplites presenting their front to us, and I disengage again. This battle really is going nowhere, and it's very slow, so I eventually break off my infantry over here to help these horsemen fight against the infantry crew, artillery crew. Meanwhile, I try to pull back from this fight, but the enemy activates a charge and catches up to them, so I have to engage them from the front, since they immediately go into phalanx again. That's very difficult to crack, and I'm taking a lot of damage now. Thankfully we're not fully engaged, but now he's moving forward, and that's going to hit me pretty hard, so I'm sending my unit back from that fight. We destroyed the artillery crew, and they're trying to help from the back. Coming in from back into this unit. Let's have a closer look. Definitely a very nice charge. The morale is suffering. He's going to do some of those kind of bullshitty dancing rounds and present front to where his back had been, but I do have him surrounded, so it's not going to go too well. He's taking a lot of damage. Thankfully, this other spearman unit doesn't join, and it's held by my ally over here. They try to do the dancing away again, but they get charged by another unit. So both of these units are out. It did take a lot of resources to do that, however. Meanwhile, just because of that, we are being overrun on the left. We're mopping up with the units here and just trying to reposition myself, just not to cause too much blobbing, and get a nice charge from a reformed formation. I stop in because I can't really engage into this mass of units. I'm not going to do much, so I'm looking for my friends to keep them in place so that I could hit from a flank, but they don't end up doing that, so I charge in from a flank myself, hoping to fix them and letting my allies to come in from behind with hoplites over here. So yeah, we don't have many units remaining and the enemy is quite fresh, so we're just trying to pull through and maybe cause these hoplites to run into me, causing friendly damage from phalanx formation, since phalanx does friendly damage to any units in the front, not just the enemy. Eventually the spears just get tired of everything, they disengage from phalanx and come in fighting hand to hand. This cavalry charge sees the deal in the center. Meanwhile, we've done a good job pushing on the right over here. We have a lot of units remaining. The enemy only has one, but it can definitely hold this flank pretty well, since this is a very Thermopylae Marathoni kind of narrow pass. So yeah, one phalanx unit can definitely hold off quite a few more. But since we've won in the center, we'll be capturing the enemy base pretty soon. A pretty nice maneuvering on our part, and good job by my allies for sure. Definitely backing up when I needed that. So yeah, even though we've done a lot of flanking, we're still pretty much shot. We've lost 2 our units and our commander as well, and this unit is just barely alive, some 30 people remaining. Which goes to show that it's definitely difficult to deal with spear formations, even when you have them outflanked, which you will for the most part, since very difficult to maneuver. Still, that doesn't mean that they're not tough. Very difficult to break. We activate some abilities just for the sake of it, and the base is going to be captured soon. I believe we win on time on this one. So I hope you enjoyed that. Some interesting moves, and hope to see you next time in another one. Cheers.